The Berlin Wall, built hastily in 1961, it drove a line through the middle of Berlin and became a physical division between two countries.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
On one side, the nation of East Germany with communism and the Soviet Union. But on the other side, it was West Germany, capitalism and a booming economy. After 30 years of dividing two political worlds and with very little warning, the wall was breached and it fell. Germany was now unified. But then what? Look at the map and Germany is just one big country, 83 million people, biggest population inside the European Union. But scratch a little deeper and there are some obvious differences between the two halves, East and West. So is this unified nation really, well, unified? The East is a more rural region. Only 1 in 5 of the German population lives there, and none of the big 30 companies listed on the German stock exchange is based in the former East Germany. And there's a big difference in population. It's growing in the West and declining in the East, where on average, people live shorter lives. Economic growth is slower in the East than in the West. Unemployment's higher, wages are lower, and so is productivity. But on the other side, after decades of communist control, the gender pay gap is much narrower, and there's a wider provision of childcare.
You see where the border was? You still see it. You look for unemployment rates, you see the wall. You look for income, you look for wealth, you see the wall.
Well, plenty of talented young East Germans took this opportunity to leave their country and head west. It was a classic example of a brain drain where a nation or a region loses its brightest people. You travel across East Germany, you often hear people saying that they've been overlooked, that the West does better. And all that feeds into one important factor: politics. This is Cottbus, a couple of hours outside Berlin. It was liberated by the Red Army in 1945 and then part of East Germany. Now here, a growing number of people are turning away from traditional political parties and instead voting for a relatively new party, the AfD. The AfD supporters say it voices the concerns of normal voters. Its opponents say it's extremist and racist. Support for AfD rose sharply after the migration crisis of 2015, when Germany threw open her doors to refugees, many of them from Syria. AfD's anti-immigration message won it plenty of votes, and now it's bolted on a new idea that East Germans are being treated like second-class citizens.
Der Ostdeutsche ist per se kritischer. Der ist kritisch eingestellt, weil wir haben einmal einen Staat kollabieren sehen. Und da sagen wir halt, jetzt passen wir lieber bei Zeiten auf, ehe wir merken, ein Land geht wieder irgendwo einen Bach runter.
Critics say the AfD is simply stoking up discontent in the East.
As a democratic society, we need to talk about unjust situations, yes. That is not justifying right-wing actions and racist attitudes.
So we've got tension between East and West, controversial politics, major economic differences. But for those who say that the government in Berlin don't understand any of this, here's an awkward truth. Chancellor Angela Merkel actually grew up in East Germany. She surely understands the problem. Her government, though, is struggling to find an answer.
You have probably in the East more people who are against our immigration politics, about our climate politics, and the people don't want changes. They want to stay like it is.
There are major differences between East and West of the continent and of this country. It is 3 decades since this wall fell, but maybe there's still an invisible wall running the length of Germany. And that one may prove to be a lot harder to demolish.